So, welcome everybody. This morning we're a little late starting due to some rather strange internet difficulties at my end. In my system, I got tried to get in this morning, and all of a sudden there was no internet, and I needed to reboot my router and do all kinds of other things that went along with that. So. Very sorry for the delay, but welcome, and I'm happy everybody is here and came with with jokes and or patience. So this is our weekly success circle for solopreneurs. We get together because we enjoy each other's company and a good joke now and again. And we like exchanging ideas and information and doing a bit of experimenting, which is probably the reason I had the problems I had this morning, that I've been doing some experimenting with some things, so which I won't go into at the moment. My name is Lowell Ann, and I've been in business for a long time, helping people get where they want to go. So now our viewers will want to know who's in the green room. And so I'm just, rather than trying to sort out who was here first, that will be impossible this morning because of what happened. I think I'll just look at this film strip and start out with whoever is on the right. So and on my right. So that means you, Vivek. How would you like to introduce yourself?
Namaste. My name is Vivek. Presently, I'm in India. I'm a software developer. Been a software developer for over 30 years. So, lot of development. But I tend to keep things simple. So,
yes. That's a very good plan, is to keep things simple. So I'm glad you're going to make it. You're making it here. I see. Oh, there's some. Barbara, is she here? Am I missing something? Interesting.
I'm here.
I do. Oh, you're here. My film strip is cut off on the end. So welcome here.
Oh, I'm not there. Okay. Stay here.
So I'll just continue with the intros, and the next one in line is Susan Joy Schlief. Welcome here, Susan. How about introducing yourself?
Okay. Hi, I'm glad I got here finally. I've missed several weeks. I've been busy, and then I messed up the audio on my computer, and it took me about a week and a half to get everything working again. So anyway, I am a video creator and editor for my full-time job, and then I have a small business that I'm launching with visual content services and coaching. And I have a new product I'm getting ready to release next month that I'm calling 1-minute videos that are created with PowerPoint templates. So it's very easy for people to edit them. And they are designed to take advantage of the autoplay feature on Facebook. So if people don't even click on the video, they can still see the motion and get their attention.
Wow.
And I have one question too. I've been trying to help a friend with getting a Facebook profile video set up like I've been using on mine. I have an iPhone. He has an Android, and we can't get it to work. So if anybody has done that with an Android and wants to reach out to me, I'd be really happy to talk to you. He was getting weird distortion on his video, so and I can't figure out what was causing it.
Okay. So, Susan, I mean, when you're ready, I think it would be really neat if you came and sort of told us all about what your new product.
Oh, I'd be happy to do that. Yeah.
We'd invite you to do that. So you just signal when you've got
When
your
I've got things ready.
Yeah. right
Okay,
on.
great. I'd be happy to do that. Thanks, Lolan.
Yeah, I'm sure we'd all find it interesting. The next person in the film strip is Paul. How would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, good morning from looking out the window, sunny Victoria on the left coast of Canada. And my company's TTG International Management, and we simply take ideas and turn them into profitable action. Over to you, Lolan.
Good morning, and I had to turn around and look because when I was out my walk, it wasn't sunny, but it is now. So glad you're here, and it was fun to receive your viewed it message yesterday. So I'm going to be doing a lot more using viewed it in the future. So the next person in the film strip is Nathan.
Morning, everybody. My name is Nathan. I'm hanging out in Ensenada, Baja California, also on the coast, but considerably further down than where you guys are. And business-wise, going through a number of changes, but something that really threw a curveball at me this morning is I'd initially intended to put bullying and everything behind me, but people have been asking me for help, and because I've been in a place where I quite literally have recovered from it, like I would say 99% free of the trauma and everything else, feel more or less like a normal person, which sounds a bit weird maybe. But anyway, people have been reaching out to me for help, and somebody reached out this morning and surprised me very much, and I realized that I need to change my marketing. The person who reached out to me was a U.S. Marine combat veteran, and said could really use your help with PTSD. And what this stuff is all about is, well, it's trauma, sure, but a lot of what people suffer from in bullying is PTSD, and I had it too. Notice I say had. I don't have it anymore. The nightmares, the flashbacks, the anger, all of that, gone. And this stuff that I know is extremely effective. It's NLP, like what we talked about in a previous session, a very focused stuff. Anyway,
Okay,
that's what's going
Nathan,
on.
we were going to try and keep it short so that everybody gets an opportunity. So I'm happy you're here. So Jay, you're next.
Jay. Hi, I'm Jay, and my company is Magi Studios. We help people get started in the world of online marketing through coach, training, and consulting. Hailing from Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, and it's sunny in Langford.
Great on. I'm glad to hear that. Welcome here. And Bill, I was surprised because with all my crazy things that happened this week, I thought I got a message that you weren't coming.
Well, you know, I tend to change my mind, and I certainly didn't mean to send that message, but I'm glad to be here. I'm glad you're having me here. My name is Bill Graham. I'm coming to you live from sunny Belize. My website is billdoesbelize.com, and I don't so much promote Belize as a tourist destination, but rather provide unbiased information, or what I refer to as the unbelievable truth, to help people make an informed decision. And it's an exciting week in our town this week because Rebecca Roth, who is our Miss Universe for Belize, has returned home, and there's going to be a big motorcade and party in town tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to covering that and going out and supporting her, because one of the things we need in Belize is adults that are good inspirations for the younger folks here, and she's certainly that. So.
Right on. Are you you're taking your camera and you're going to cover it and post it?
Yeah, I'm going to, yes.
Right on. Perfect. I mean, we could, each one of us could have a conversation here, but yes, we're trying to do an introduction here. So moving on, Barbara, I'm so happy to see you here. Does this mean you got through your surgery just fine?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah, I did.
Wow.
And I'm home, and I have a home care person coming over to help me for a while,
Mhm.
you know, because I can't do just about everything yet.
Right.
Um,
Slow
but
recovery.
yeah, but I'm so glad that's over. That was really a lot of pain.
Right. Do you
The
want
whole
to
thing.
introduce your business, Barbara?
Well, I'm sorry, what?
Would you like to introduce your business or what you're up to?
Well, my business, it has several names. Well, the main thing is called HLB Global Ventures, but that's just kind of on top of things. And then what that is going to include is SEO service, hopefully eventually a website too, service like building websites or fixing them or something for WordPress. I'm not good enough yet on that. And then the other part is I have a website that I'm trying to promote. It's called Pup Corner, and become an authority site on that. And so I've been working on that a while. I think it takes a while to become an authority. So that's
right on. So I'm glad you're on your. Are you on your feet, or at least you're upright?
But I can.
So welcome here.
Thank you.
And Heidi, you're on my extreme left.
Yeah, I'm Heidi from Italy, and my website is thewisdomfactory.net, where this Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, we will interview Laurel Ann, and her topic is "It's never too late to begin with the future," or something like this. So we invite you to join us and to talk about a different thing, not so much technical, not so much focused, but more about her ideas, how to face the future in a certain age. And we are in a certain age, and I'm looking very much forward to that, and invite you all to my website, thewisdomfactory.net, and there you can go on live streaming, and you are directly there.
I love the way you say we're all of a certain age. Boy, that is a really easy way to get around it all. Love it. So I'm happy you're here, Heidi. And I did see your message, but I guess you're just going to have to live with my chin in the in the film strip.
Bite them all.
Right. Oh dear. And I see that Roland has joined us, and he's not on the extreme left end. I don't know how he popped up in the middle, but Roland, please introduce yourself.
Good morning. Can you hear me, or am I
Yes,
in the
we
water
can hear you.
here?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, I've been dealing with a lot of technical things, so but anyway. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show with Lowell Ann's gang here. My name is Roland, and I have the Internet Mobile website, and I sponsor the show Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties, where we talk about the tripod and the minimum you need for the maximum impact.
All right. Pardon me for laughing when you were introducing yourself. Seems to me that seems to be the big message here this morning. Anyway, we won't go there. So welcome here, everybody, and I would like to for us to get on with our topic as quickly as we can. And the topic this morning, I guess we kind of decided on that last week at the last minute, was to think about reviews. So the title of today's session is The Power of Reviews. And I thought it might make sense for us to really think about reviews, first of all, from a consumer perspective. How do we what difference do they make for us? How do we make use of them? And where do we go to find them? So anybody in the film strip, do you depend on reviews? Do you how do you make use of them?
Well, number one, those of you who don't know, I've worked as a freelance writer for nearly 18 years. I've written probably 300 or 400 reviews for magazines all over the world. Mm-hmm. And so if you're looking to make use of reviews, one of the major problems that you have these days is to find reviews that are actually real, because a major problem is, depending on what it is that you're looking at, you may be looking at a product where the review has been written by somebody who's an affiliate of it, whether it's a product or a service. Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, in many cases, what you're going to be seeing is only what they want you to see about the product or service. It won't actually be real. And to find your way through to the actual reviews can be really challenging. You need to look at things like Consumer Reports or organizations, magazines that do not have a bias that way, not individual reviewers necessarily. It's become a really big problem in my industry, because when you encounter one of these reviews by an affiliate, you're not going to get the real story. And so the challenge is to find what's real as opposed to what isn't.
Okay. I can imagine there will be a couple of people who will have a response to that.
Is it my turn now?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I knew you were coming, Jay. I knew you'd be running the hills.
Yeah, so I actually I somewhat agree with what Nathan was saying in the aspect of many reviews are biased based on affiliate commissions. In most cases, reputable people, reputable bloggers will say there's have some sort of affiliate disclosure saying if you end up buying this product based on my review, I will earn a commission, or they'll have a blanket affiliate statement within the as a dedicated page within the footer navigation or something like that. But to chalk everyone up to say if the review is an affiliate, it will be biased, I completely disagree, because there's going to be situations where, like in my situation, I've actually purchased products and been extremely dissatisfied with them, and I try to give it give it a chance, so like for example, I would buy a product expecting one person to be delivering the video training, and it actually ended up being someone completely different, right? Whereas you rely on one person and it's another. So I'll provide a negative review saying, this was not the case, and I could have been an affiliate for that particular product, right? And I could have earned commission, because I'm on the top spot for their brand name review keyword. So, but I choose not to go down that path. So you can't bundle everyone up, right? So without a doubt. So now we can talk about products that I do promote and I do write reviews. Is it a biased opinion? Well, it's a biased opinion if I get paid commission, but you have to try to keep an objective view. I mean, the products that I promote, I love them. I buy them. I use them every single day. So it's not a biased review where I'm not writing these reviews just because I'm going to earn a commission if someone buys them. I also want to steer people in the right direction and help people in the right direction to make sound choices with their, with what they want to purchase. One last thing you mentioned about consumer reviews and other things, like, for example, like the BBB, Better Business Bureau. In my opinion, they try to be as vanilla as possible when it comes to leaving reviews and stuff. I think that's a total crock. They are complete. If you buy your listing on the BBB, you become accredited, whereas you have way more power to be able to do that. I think it's online bullying, because if someone or they kind of randomly will create a BBB listing, and then which gives precedent for people to come in and leave some sort of review or whatever, and then it'll say like, oh, the owner has not had a chance, has not reviewed or not replied to this review. Well, that's because they haven't paid to be accredited to be able to reply to them. It doesn't make any sense. How is that non-biased?
That,
right?
Yeah, the BBB is something else. That's not what I'm referring to, but I'm
Yeah.
referring to legitimate magazines where if there's a product or service that's being reviewed, they're not coming from the place of being an affiliate or anything else. It's a major. It is. You know, there are all sorts of distinctions with this. The trouble with it is finding what's real and what isn't. If you know what to look for, it's easier. And
yet that same product can advertise on their magazine. How is that not biased, right?
That actually happened to me, and I was going to mention it. You beat me to it. I had one magazine that I wrote for, no longer, because of a nasty little thing that happened where they asked me to review a product. Well, the product damaged my computer, quite literally, and I had to pay money to get it fixed. And so I was writing about my experiences. They wouldn't let me publish the article, and they wrote a fake article with my name.
Oh, ooh.
I'm not joking. And my editor had the nerve to write to me and to say to me, I hope this didn't damage our relationship. It's like, are you friggin' kidding me? You lied. And the reason that they wrote it that way is because they'd accepted advertising money from the person with that product.
Nathan, did you say that they hired you to write this article?
Yes.
How is that different than earning a commission if they've hired you to pay you?
Well, because I'm writing it from a standpoint of I don't have any investment in the product. And I can say whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. So I'm just a columnist. I don't have any investment in the product. I don't get any commission. There's nothing to do with supporting the company. And so it puts me in a place where I can write the truth about my experiences, and I do.
Yeah.
Except in this case, you couldn't.
Right.
Well, I did, but they wouldn't publish it. And as you can imagine, like I said, it completely destroyed my relationship with that company. I'll never write for them again.
Mm-hmm.
For obvious reasons. I was actually thinking about whether I should be suing them or not. Because that was a major misrepresentation. It could have damaged me, and I'm very lucky that it didn't.
Okay, so I mean, we're pointing to conflict of interest here, but I still want to hear from everyone else. How do you look for, or do you read reviews, and how do you make use of reviews?
Yeah, I'll speak to that. I use them more now than I used to. I never used to pay that much attention. And I noticed a couple different ways that I use them. One is I do buy things on Amazon quite a bit. And like I just recently ordered a clip to hold my cell phone where like I can attach as like a flexible neck. And so I'm going to attach it to the cupboards above my sink so I can watch TV on my phone while I'm washing dishes, you know. So of course there were dozens of different styles, you know, and I didn't read all the reviews. I just looked at which ones had the most stars, and that influenced my decision. Mm-hmm. I have bought other things in the past where, or actually decided not to buy things in the past based on the written reviews on Amazon. Mm-hmm. I've also read reviews for doctors when I'm looking for a new specialist. And so, you know, there are a number of different ways that I have started using it. Mm-hmm. I do have a comment about what we were discussing a minute ago, but I'll wait and come back to that so we can hear about using them first.
Yeah, I think Roland, you had you were waving.
Yeah, it's one of these don't get me started subjects. But now that I'm getting started, we have to understand that reviews, that's a real generic term for a lot of things going on the internet. You've got professional reviews, paid reviews, and personal reviews, and you know there's corporate endorsements, there's affiliations, and all these things can be legitimate and may not be legitimate, even on the level of Yeah, I never use them, so it's like, but what's the big review factory that I can't think of it, but it doesn't matter. But anyway, there were cases of them calling up local business owners in my area, said,
Yeah.
listen, we would like to sell you an ad campaign and blah, blah, blah. And then the client came back to them, and I was in this meeting where she said, I need to talk to you. I've lost several of my best reviews. And they said, oh yeah, well, there's a logarithmic algorithm thing, pardon me, not logarithm, algorithm, that eliminates the ones, the reviews that we don't think are legitimate. And literally it eliminated about 50% of their best reviews. The representative said, oh, I think we can fix that if you buy an ad. I mean, they didn't put it in those words, but that was in the effect, that's what they did. They bribed the people and tried to get them to buy an ad. And I just lost all fight for professional review companies because of that, because I could see how if they had multiple aspects involved, there could be a definite conflict of interest. And as far as I'm concerned, illegal activity. But the reviews come from well-known sites as well as the individual that you know in Facebook. And all these things are valuable because if somebody's used the product and they say, I've used that product and I think it's fabulous, you know, you're gonna value that as much as comes from somebody that's supposedly the big review artist that does it all the time. You don't know what sort of political or aspect of social pressure that the review person's under, but you're going to trust a friend when you read something from them, right? All kinds of levels of reviews.
Well,
But,
and that there are a variety of terms, as you just indicated. I was going to ask somewhere along the way, what's the difference between a review and a testimonial, for example? So, but
well,
they're all kind of part of that whole thing. But but still, I mean, I want us to stay on how we're using them as consumers to before we kind of move into that. So, Bill, you indicated.
Yeah, I think to stay on topic as far as how we use them in our own websites and our own business. I mean, I don't ask ever for anybody to review or to give me a testimonial or whatever semantic term you want to use, but I do find that I get a lot of good reviews in my comments section of my website. People that say, glad I found your site. I've had people say it's the best site they've found. The information is very helpful. And I haven't done this, but this week, as I'm upgrading my site, I'm going to start taking those comments and I'm going to put them onto a review page.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the credibility of having that comment, having that review in your comment from somebody who looked at your website, as opposed to somebody who's just out in some generic site praising you or maybe not praising you, whatever, has a lot more value than going and paying for reviews or asking for reviews. I mean, typically if you ask for reviews, people are going to try and be nice, I think, for the most part. But if you let people give their own reviews based on their experience, I think ultimately they're a lot more credible. And people can go back and when they look through your comments, they'll see where that review came from and that it was a real person with an email address. It's not some other business. So that's just my experience and how I use reviews, but they are important, I think. I mean, it adds a little bit of authority to what you're doing. It makes you a bit more credible, when people are trying to find the truth.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I just want to touch very briefly on what Roland said. What he was referring to, if I'm correct, is a business called Yelp, which has to do with reviews and reputation management. I posted a link on your site, Lolan, to do with an article that I wrote on reputation management. It's not necessarily, it is reviews, but it's reviews in a different way. I just posted it on your site so people can read it. It's something I wrote a number of years ago. It's the dark side of reviews, if you will. And I know that's not our focus this morning.
No,
Can I say something?
please.
When I learned about all this stuff about 5 years ago, I began, or 4 years ago, to think about marketing and things. And the people said testimonials and reviews. And in my surrounding, people in Europe are not so much used to it. So at the beginning, it seemed to be very strange. I asked people to do it, and then they did it. But, you know, always a little strange. Now it's becoming a little more, and especially on restaurants and holiday vacation localities. And I write wherever I go now, because I know how important it is. I write to the people the reviews, what is good, what is not so good. Not so good normally, shorter, but anyway, I do it because I think it's really important. I'm also a Google local guide, so if I see a restaurant is not in the map, so I put it into the map, and I hope that sooner or later the universe will repay it to me. So. But I do think it's important, and when I buy something on Amazon, for instance, I often look into the reviews and look at the ones which are not written so perfectly, which are written a little bit so that I can see that's probably a person like me, a private, who is not getting any payment for anything what they're doing. So.
Can I get Vivek's thoughts on this? The reason why I'm asking is for two reasons. One, I like to get his perspective as someone who is I forget the term of what you are, kind of a Google helper. And say again?
He's a
Google star or something like that, right? Yeah. Okay. So and two is I'd like to know if reviews are prominent in where he's currently living, because they're fairly prominent from a local business perspective. So I would love to hear Vivek's thoughts on those.
Go for it, Vivek.
Yeah, the reviews do play a major role in ranking as far as Google is concerned. With regard to what's happening here in India, reviews are very common here. So, and the funny thing is, you will find reviews written in all multiple languages, even on Amazon. If you go Amazon India, you'll struggle to read the review, mainly because it's written in a different language, but the script is English. They use the English script, but it's written in Hindi.
Oh.
So, but yeah, reviews are very important. Yes.
Do businesses ask for reviews? Like, for example, when you had upgraded your phone, I remember we talked a couple months ago about you with your phone. Did that business say, "Oh, if you like our experience, please leave a review," or is that something that's generally asked within the sales funnel?
It's done by Amazon. Amazon says, actually sends you email saying you bought this product, would you like to review it? So they do that. And then Amazon also asks you if you want to answer any questions that someone else has asked about the product. So
I was actually referring to like local businesses, so like restaurants and people with physical addresses, not so much just Amazon. Is that something that plays an important role? Like, do businesses ask for reviews from their patrons? It could be something as simple as having a little tent card, like a card on the table at a restaurant saying, like us on Yelp or Urban Spoon or something like that, or Google, with a QR image or something like that.
Yeah, wherever they are, the business is aware of these things they do. Yes.
Yeah, because that's, I mean, I run a local SEO firm, and I basically I help businesses get reviews for their site and for their Google Maps listing. And sometimes, like specifically, I work with a local cab company here in my hometown, and I tell you, curating reviews or asking for reviews from patrons, it can frustrate the Dalai Lama. It is so hard to do because in most cases, no one's going to leave a positive review for a short, meaningless cab ride. Yet, if they have a negative experience, they are more than willing to tear a new one into them, publicly on the internet, whether it be reviews or through social media. So, my question here is, how do we mitigate that? How do we not prevent that? Because I mean, if someone has a bad experience, they legitimately have the right to let everyone else know. But how do we get more positive reviews when it's hard to? Like, why would you leave a positive review for your dentist who just gave you a root canal? The pain was manageable.
I have a suggestion about that. Go ahead, Lola.
Well, Jay, I was going to say, I mean, we both work in the same community, and the thing that I've discovered is that there are so few people in the population that know about the way Google Maps works with business and the where you can put in reviews and all of that. It's not a generally known thing here. I'm finding. So.
And yeah, that's probably one of the best, most legitimate reviews that you can get is a 5-star review on Google.
Yeah. Well, and
but I had some.
I'm doing the same thing as Heidi is doing. I do that. Go around and take pictures and add things, etc., etc. And but I mean, even in certain cases, when I've even talked to the maybe the restaurant owner or the store owner, and they just don't seem to be aware.
No, they even asked me, oh, I don't pay anything. I don't pay anything when I asked them to put it into the Google Maps. I said, it's not about paying. They cannot imagine, but, yeah.
So I mean, those of us that are working on a local level, we have lots to do.
I just wanted to go back to something Heidi said that I thought was good, and that was that getting good reviews and getting bad reviews. And I think it's important, when I go to a site, if all I see is 4- and 5-star reviews, I'm a little bit skeptical because not everybody likes something all of the time. There should be the odd negative review. Well, I shouldn't say that because in quite all honesty, I haven't received any negative reviews on my site. That may not mean that people haven't disliked something about it, but I think for credibility in our reviews, we have to take the good and the bad. And I see people that use that in a positive way. Yes, somebody may have stayed at your hotel and said, "Oh, the pool was down," or "This was happening." It gives you kind of an opportunity to go back and say, this happened. Yes, we acknowledge that. Sorry for your inconvenience. But this is what happened at that time. We're sorry it happened when you were here, but we've rectified that problem, because there may be 100 other people out there who had the same negative experience and don't write a review. They just decide that they'll never go back. But if they do go back to your site in the future and they see that their problem was addressed, it can be beneficial, I think, the negative reviews.
Yeah, it depends a lot with these reviews. Like, one of the things that I had a lot of trouble with as a traveler is using TripAdvisor and getting fooled multiple times by so-called positive reviews written by somebody who was probably paid by the company to write these reviews. And I went to 2 different hotels and was fooled in both cases by these reviews that were positive. And when I went in there, I realized that these places were definitely not 5-star. They were more like 2 or 3. and that what I was seeing was actually not the truth. And I was very annoyed. But one of the things I learned as a traveler is businesses regularly pay people to write fake positive reviews in order to tip the results in their favor. And this was a common problem when I was living in Bucerias. I spoke with a vendor of tourists who was telling me about this, and major problems. So it's hard to know with the reviews. Somewhere in the middle is usually where the truth is. And to comment on what Bill was saying.
Well, and so Nathan, you're I've heard lots of comments from people who have planned trips using in all of those and figured out how to compare this one to that one and look. I mean, the trick is to look at more than one thing. Do
Agreed.
your due diligence. But I wanted to mention a way that I actually used or I counted on or found it very valuable just recently. I was in the last couple of days, I use MailChimp, and I was looking at what else is out there and what's the cost and etc. And I did find a couple of sites that looked at and did various comparisons. And I would say that there were one site that I went to reviewed, I think, about 4 or 5 different autoresponder companies, and outlined exactly what was really valuable in each one and what was a drawback in each one, without really. Well, I think there was a comment that said, when all is said and done, this is the one that I prefer for this reason. And I found it really useful. I mean, that person saved me a whole lot of research time to be able to go in and say, well, this is what these are the features, etc. So, however, I mean, it doesn't make sense to only look at one thing. So as Susan, I think you had were waving at me.
Well, I wasn't, but I just unmuted because I do want to respond to that. That's actually what I was going to say when we were talking earlier about, different ways of creating reviews. And I haven't done a lot of review writing myself, but when I have done it, I've tried to do that comparison, like you're saying, where I did one Hangout demo where I showed 2 different software tools for managing your graphics on your blog posts. And I owned both of them. I had used both of them, and I talked about the differences and which one I was using both, but starting to more and more rely on one. And I talked about the advantages that I found, which isn't necessarily what somebody else would do. And then I also did that with a tool that I use for creating opt-in pages. And I talked about, it's not the tool that most people recommend, but these are the reasons that I like it, and I think that kind of review makes more sense. And even though I shared my affiliate link for in both of those cases, it wasn't about, I want to make money off of this. It was, these are tools that I like, and these are the reasons why I like them.
Yeah. So now, and there's another, just before we leave, how we make use of, going back to something Heidi said, in the coaching world, normally I mean, there's a huge level of confidentiality that is involved, etc. And so therefore we're unable to really say anything about who our customers are and what they got or whatever. So it's a common practice within in that world, coaching world, when you're sort of finished your relationship with that person, maybe you've been working together for 3 or 6 months or whatever, one of the last things you do is ask them for feedback. And the way it's asked is not give me a a testimonial, but tell me, what was the reason you came here? What were some of the ahas that might have happened? What were some of the outcomes that happened? And what would you change? Is there anything about the way we work together or what we did that you would change in the future? And always, there's a question, may I share this on my website? And I've often I've found that most people in that case don't give a really negative review, but they will kind of say, well, I was hoping such and such, and this is what happened. Or looking back now, it might have been more beneficial if this or this had happened. So, I mean, you do get a certain amount of objective feedback. So I'm throwing out yet another word. We're talking about reviews and endorsements and testimonials. Well, feedback is another word that fits in with this whole thing. So, yeah.
And I think feedback is different than a review, right? What you're talking about is getting actual feedback and how you can improve your presentation. And maybe it's going to be a bit skewed if you say that I would like to get this for my website. It might be better just to approach it and ask for feedback. Then once you get that feedback, then ask if for permission to share it.
Yeah, one other thing I wanted to mention too, to do with getting information about different places. It's one thing to look for reviews in a particular way, like on a site or on Yelp or things like that. But another way, like which I found as a traveler, is to go to forums and groups. Those are really helpful.
Yeah.
If you post a question along those lines, quite often you get, well, it depends on the nature of the group, whether there are problems with trolls and stuff. But assuming it's a decent group, you'll get some really good information about what's out there. And some people, as I've discovered, when I post a query about something I want to know about, reviews or whatever, many people write to me privately and tell me all sorts of stuff and give me really good information. I've made some great contacts that way.
Very on. Roland. Oh, sorry. Roland was waiting.
Funny, I was just gonna say I'd like to hear from Paul before I wrap what I was thinking in my mind. So I'm gonna let him talk since he's ready.
Thank you, Roland. So simply, I don't use reviews at all, other than the type that Lowell Ann described, where there's product comparisons, and I think of that as a different thing than reviews. I use reviews if I have bad service, I will go back to the owner and tell them about the service. I don't think it's up to me to publish that publicly. I think that's give the owner the opportunity to improve it. I recently had a terrible experience at an allegedly good restaurant. I was really disappointed and sent that information off. But what I do rely on is a network of people. So if there's something that I'm interested in, I will find somebody who is knowledgeable and ask them for their opinion. And that's what I rely on, I rely on my network. And that is kind of like what I encourage businesses to do as well, is to build up what I call your sneezers, people who have had good experiences and are willing to talk about your business. So I find that to be more authentic and valuable than any sort of review sites.
So now I'd like to chime in. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. The thing about reviews is everyone looks at it as a one-way street where they get information. But the best review opportunities are where you can reply to the person that made the comment and interact with them. And if it's got the longevity where they actually are current enough to be live, like you comment on them and they'll get back to you, that's the best review. And the thing is, I do all my shopping online. I do 100% of my shopping online. And I don't buy anything without checking Amazon and Walmart, because for most of what I'm looking for, they have the best prices, but they also have competitive prices, but they also have reviews on practically everything. If they have no reviews, I really hesitate on the product. But if they have plenty of reviews, you can see all the 1 through 5 stars. And what I've noticed a lot of times is the 1-star or 2-star reviews is so often because of the user error on the part of the purchaser or the user, where they had a bad experience and they're talking all about their bad experience. It had nothing to do with the product itself. And so for me, that's not a negative review. That's an act of stupidity on the part of the reviewer. But I mean, there are different kinds of reviews. We have to be able to read these and decipher what's being said on the underside of the message. But Bill nailed it earlier when he was talking about it's an opportunity. Using on our own territories and real estate, the feedback and get back to those people and find out, communicate with them why they left us 1-star, 2-star, or even 3 stars. 3 stars deserves some attention because somebody was like, they're indifferent about your site. It's like, then how can we improve it? It's exactly what you said, Lowell Ann. We use the feedback from the people to improve what we're doing. And it all boils down to this. All of us are trying to improve the results of our testimonials. We should be focusing on improving our product or service. And if we do that and use the testimonials as a tool to do that, then we really have a tool. It's not just what people are saying. It's like a tool to help us get better and expose the fact that we are better.
Or improving the customer experience, if I can add that, which is sometimes an extra besides the product and service.
Yeah.
And that's actually what I was going to bring up before when we were talking about how do you get those positive reviews rather than just the negative, because people are more likely to leave a review when they're dissatisfied, right? I heard a great story. It wasn't a cab driver, it was a limo driver. And this limo driver apparently took just a little extra step always of he would text the person after he dropped them off at the airport. He would text them and like a couple hours later when they should have arrived and ask, I hope your trip was fine and that you have a great time wherever you are. And just that extra little personal touch was getting people to leave reviews. It was getting them to ask for him again when they would call for service. And it's not a huge thing, but something that definitely is like beyond a little bit of extra effort beyond what the average person would do, it can make a huge difference and get people to leave those positive reviews.
There's no question about that. So I think we're ready to move into, where do we find, how do we get them? We've sort of bordered on that a little bit in our discussion, certainly by asking, etc. I might mention something that I find kind of irritating. I get these emails that are inviting me to fill in a survey in terms of what kind of service did I get, and I just find those are such an annoyance that I mean I guess the annoying part is they take up so much of my time. And my viewing space and all of that. I really find them very annoying. I wondered about others. So what other ways so that's one way that you can send out a survey and ask how are we doing and what did you think and all of that. So that's one way, and which I find annoying. But what about other ways? Do you think people could or businesses could encourage people to leave the kind of feedback that is useful to them?
I think Barbara hit the number one way just a minute ago when she said provide value, go that extra step. I mean, reviews are a perspective. They're not necessarily fact. I mean, there's somebody's belief based on their perspective. I mean, I see so many reviews of hotels where somebody will say give a 5-star, and somebody else will give it a 3-star. Well, they've stayed in the same room. What is the difference? It's just that individual user's perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, you need, I mean, if you're going to be looking at reviews, you need something more than just stars, and you need, I mean, if somebody's leaving a review, it needs to give content. So what was this about? What was I looking for, and what was the outcome? So, and I think that's probably part of the difficulty as well, is many people don't know how to write a good one.
Well, yeah, just to say I had a bad experience doesn't tell anybody anything.
No.
You know, but it might help them to know that the pictures are actually 25 years old and the place doesn't look like that anymore.
Right. Right.
If I can jump in.
Yeah.
Well, some of the things that I saw in the feedback for products I was buying is that, you know, it's manufactured assembly line stuff. If something's going to go wrong for some people, and oftentimes people get something in from the mail order or something, and it's like the dang thing doesn't even work out of the box. But the review was like 4 stars, and I was like, into this because it looked negative. But I read that basically the person received their article, sent it back to the company, and the company jumped all over it as an opportunity. Let me replace this immediately. We'll expedite it out to you. And so it reflects back on the customer service, not just the product, not just what people think about using it, but the treatment of the company. And so the feedback is as much on the relationship that people have with your company, and as some representative in your company, than it does the product or service itself. The customer service is huge, and that's the opportunity with testimonials.
Yeah.
Follow up with people and to communicate with them, whether it's good or bad, you know, either way. You thank people who gave good reviews, and then you address the people who gave, and figure out why, and use it as an opportunity to improve your customer service, certainly, but also your product and your service.
Mm-hmm. Right on. Any other? So what other ways can we seek that though?
Sorry, sorry for kind of taking off there for a bit. I had a client call me. So in regards to reviews, which I thought was kind of serendipitous. So we're talking about ways to kind of curate reviews.
How do we get the kind of feedback as a company? I'm a company and you're a company. What are the various ways that we can seek that kind of feedback that is valuable to us, but also valuable to the consumer?
Absolutely. I'm so glad you brought this up. So I actually developed a review funnel system, and where you know what, I'll just show you. Sorry, give me 2 seconds. Share.
Right on.
There we go. Okay, y'all can see it here. All right, so this is a specific. This is actually what's called a feedback form. So this is it's a system where, you know, you provide feedback. You put your email in, your name and your email, and, you know, how did you feel your experience with us? And what this is, it's an internal messaging system that has a threshold variable. Okay, and what that means is, depending on what people grade you on this, the next page will be different. So if someone gives a 10 out of 10 review, they're going to see, I'll show you, they'll see this page that says, hey, thank you for your feedback, really do appreciate it. You know, hey, since you're in a spirited mood of giving us positive vibes, can you leave us a review on Google or Facebook? And then if someone left a subpar or negative feedback, the next window they would see would be, hey, thanks for your, you know, your feedback. It's very important to us to hear, you know, how you felt and stuff. we look forward to serving you again, and we'll try to work better next time. But what they do not see is the links to the review areas, the social reviews. So what this does is it potentially mitigates people from leaving negative type of reviews through social media, okay? And then what happens is if they leave a positive review on here, it creates, give me 1 second, a system. I'm only showing my own versus clients, but we use this specifically for our clients. It shows the reviews here, okay? And then also, you know, this is of course optional where you can actually just already put that there, but we, some clients choose not to have this part. So, you know, this isn't about promoting my stuff here, but I wanted to show you that things like this are available, okay? So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's you know, there's systems that you can do that. You can actually even manually create it with a form, you know, your own form. Like if you're using WordPress and you're using Gravity Forms, you can create a simple feedback form with an auto reply that says, thank you for leaving us feedback. If you'd like to continue and leave a review on Google+, here's a link to Google+, or if you'd like to leave a review on Facebook, here's a link to Facebook. So my system just automates it. That's all it really does. So
Automation's a great way to go, no question.
So basically what you're saying is ask for it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, provide it in your sales funnel. So, and if you're, I think if you're if service-based industry, whereas you go to a particular client's house and you have a specific sales funnel, you know, whether it be through a CRM system or, you know, some sort of your own internal process of how you deal from customer acquisition to getting money, you know, add that at the end, you know, a simple feedback form. Hey, how do we do kind of thing? Very similar to as what Vivek was saying about Amazon, right? They actually implement that right into their system. Why would local businesses not do that, right? I mean, to me, I think it's absolutely ideal. And I think it doesn't even need to be restrictive to local businesses. Solopreneurs can do it as well.
My chiropractor's office does that too. The week after I go there, I always get an email from their review service asking me to rank my visit.
There's another side to this too. Like as a freelancer, you know, writing for all these different magazines, one of the things that's happened is people have reached out to me from various different businesses asking me either if I could review their product on that site. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't, depends on a conflict. And other times people have reached out to me and asked me, I've got this product, I'd like you to look at it, give me a review of it, tell me what's right, what's wrong, and what I need to do to fix it. So in terms of those of you here who are wanting reviews for your business, one way of doing it is to go to a place where there are journalists, writers like myself, who cover topics similar to what you're doing, and reach out to someone like that and ask them to give you a review in that way. Because you reach out to somebody who's got a really good byline and they give you a really positive review, that can help you tremendously in terms of your business. And also, if they're a center of influence and they're willing to post that information, that can help you tremendously as well.
Yeah, I think though, like I respect what it is you do, Nathan. And also, just quickly on the other side of the coin there, from a freelancer's perspective, you know, before they even approach you, they're going to probably do their due diligence and read reviews about you, especially if you're on Upwork or freelancer.com, that kind of thing, where if you get hired, pardon me, yeah, exactly. Or if you, okay, well, hypothetically speaking, if a freelancer is on Upwork, Freelancer, any other kind of freelancer agency type of websites, the way it works is once you hire that person, they do the work, you are inclined to leave a review for that person on how they did. And also the freelancer provides a review of the vendor who hired them saying, yes, they paid quickly, they were, you know, they laid out everything, so which is great. So, but you know, in reply to what you were saying, I think also there's a little bit of there's so many options out there to get kind of user experience and product feedback before the point of paying someone of influence to write a review. And I think the industry right now is going towards that, where they're going to be doing more internal feedback and internal review type of thing before they kind of get to that point where they pay someone to pay someone of industry who has a lot of industry credibility to basically write a piece on their product, service, or whatever it is, you know. So but I certainly respect what you do, Nathan, because it's I sure wouldn't want to do it, because it's a lot of work. So yeah, I commend you for what you do. So.
Yeah, there's no question that it is, and it's just there's so many different ways. Like the type of sites that you're talking about, those are the outsourcing sites, and I'm not a part of that world at all. I took the professional, the trade magazine and consumer magazine route, and I didn't go into those markets at all, because from a writer's perspective, and this totally off topic, it's a really bad way to go if you want to build a business. And I'm not going to go into it any further than that.
Oh.
But if you're wanting to be a professional, if you want to build a business as a writer, there's an entirely different approach as what I learned, like, say, 18 years ago. And one of the things that I was told is to avoid the outsourcing sites like the plague. And there's a good reason for it. Anyway, that's just my piece. That's all. So
Roland, and I'm looking at the time. We are well over our hour. And I also need to say that I have to drive to Sydney this morning. So Roland,
Yeah,
you
thank you.
You got the final
Well,
word.
It really helps to build good relationships with the potential clients and the clients that you have, which includes giving good customer service and response to their questions. And then the positive statements will flow in naturally, and you'll have the best chance to field the negative ones or the not so good ones, so you can do something about it. So it all comes back down to the customer service. But if you're doing a good job in communicating with your people and attending to the business that you deliver, you're going to get positivity, and the customer service is going to reinforce that, and that's what's going to flow. And then you're going to have a better opportunity to give positive reviews. So when you go to get a review from somebody, make sure that you're being selective about your clients and the people who are doing business with you too. Because if you're not, then you're going to associate with somebody maybe you don't like working for, and you don't really know exactly what they're going to say. And even if they say something positive, it may reflect negatively on your business. So who you do business with is important too.
Well, and that applies to solopreneurs like us. But if you had a little shop on the corner, that's a little bit harder to manage. So, for sure. Okay, so I am very cognizant of our time this morning, and I do apologize to everyone for all my technical difficulties. And I noticed everybody's posting their comments within the Hangout comments rather than over on the website, which is too bad. I will have to see if I can copy them over. So there's Roland waving away here because we're still working on the video comment plus plugin. So thank you, Susan, for saying that. Her link brought me to the Hangout right on. So I just want to acknowledge everybody this morning. So, but I do believe that it's time for us to wrap up. And just to remind everyone that for my work, you'll find almost everything that I'm doing. You'll find out everything you need to know about me, either on lowland.com or the Being Your Own CEO community on Google+, or solopreneur supports in Google collections. I got stuff all over. But it's every bit as important for you to get to know the folks that are in the green room here. They all offer some very good service, and as you can hear, there's a lot of integrity here. And so that's what it's all about, isn't it? Is as we develop our relationships with one another and with our viewers, so that they become aware of our level of integrity. So, but do get to know the people in the green room as well. So this is Lowell Ann signing off for this week, and hopefully next week I won't have any internet problems. So bye for now.